What's up, Commanders fans? So this comes by no surprise, but the Commanders are interested in getting a guy like Gabe Taylor. That is Sean Taylor's younger brother, and he's younger than him by 18 years. So he is nice. Honestly, he's not the same player that his brother was, but he does play the same position, and he can also play cornerback as well. And he's even played in the slot in the last 4 years at Rice, and he's done well. Like, this boy has had 10 interceptions in the 4 years that he's been there. So it's gone in 2021. It was 3 interceptions, 2 interceptions in the next year, 2 interceptions in the next one, and then 3 in the next one. And that was the most recent one. And he's also had a forced fumble in 1 year, 2 in the next, 1 in the next, and then 2 in the next. And I know I'm just throwing numbers all over the place, but I just want you to understand that this guy knows how to get the ball. And, of course, he doesn't play at a high-level school. But, you know, the thing that people underestimate about this is that if you play at these low-level schools, right, you have to play your ass off. You have to go all out. And, you know, one of the things that stood out about him is the fact that he knows how to tackle. 2, he, at his pro day, ran a 4.3. And we all know that at a pro day, a 4.3 could be anywhere from 4.4, you know, on up. It all depends because they don't have the same type of technology that they have at the NFL draft. So if he was to run at the combine, he probably would have did a 4.4. And that's phenomenal for a safety or phenomenal for a DB overall. So that would have put him in the top margin for, you know, the backs that came in the combine. So that's something to be, you know, excited about if you were to draft him. You know that he has elite speed. But another thing is you have to think about his height. And then the fact that he's not as physical as his brother, but he's trying to make a name for himself. And I feel like, if he's there in the later rounds, I know we only have a first round, a second round, fourth round, and we have a 6th and a 7th. If he's there at 6 and a 7, I feel like we're going to go after him. Even if he makes it to undrafted free agent and nobody decides to draft him, I feel like it's a perfect shot for us to get him. Without a doubt, it's happening. But because of his speed, I don't see him still being there. And because, you know, he's shown that he can be a consistent player. You know, I can see us going to get him. And I don't know if he's going to be there. But I can just see that, you know, he has talent. And in his division, you don't see really good quarterbacks in his division. So that can have you feeling like, he's going to be a late round. Of course, I get it. But he's somebody that we look towards getting if he's there to be picked up. And it's not like we don't have guys, but why not have him if we can get him for a low draft pick? So this season, like I said, is different for us because we already have our franchise quarterback. Last season we didn't, and we had the 2nd overall pick. And we had to make a tough decision. And it wasn't that tough, but, you know, it really just, everything went well. You know, last season we thought around this time that Jaden Daniels did not want to come here. And that was because of the fact that we brought in so many quarterbacks in for his visit on the same day. But, you know, Jaden came out and said that he basically wants to stay here. His agent came out and spoke. And look what we got out of him in his very first year with a very new staff with Dan Quinn, Adam Peters, Lance Newmark, you name it. All new guys, right? And we were able to do so much in this 1 year with a whole lot of free agents that we signed. And, you know, we had a lot of veterans. So we were able to make it to NFC Championship, and we did it with the bare minimum, to be honest. So now that we brought in Laramie Tunsil, potentially move Brandon Coleman over to the right tackle position, and maybe move Andrew Wiley to the right guard position. Who knows? But it's all going to depend on how they work together. These can be great talents and they all not work together. But hopefully they come together and work really well and they protect Jaden as much as possible. Last season he was sacked 47 times. This season, hopefully it's even better and Laramie can lock down that left tackle position. And, while he was blocking for C.J. Stroud last season, he only allowed him to get sacked twice, right? And he had 19 penalties. But in my opinion, I keep saying it, I don't give a damn about them penalties. He kept his quarterback from getting hit. And he only got hit and sacked 2 times. So that's amazing to me. I'm glad. I don't give a damn how many penalties. I understand it does make a difference on the game. But he's going to do better. And then you got to think about this, too. C.J. Stroud was not a mobile quarterback. He's not as mobile as Jaden Daniels. So that makes a huge difference in his game, in his play, in the amount of sacks that he racks up, and the amount of penalties that he gives up. So if you have an elusive quarterback that can get out of the pocket quick, it makes a huge difference for the team. So now we have that aspect fixed. So where are we going to go in the first round? I feel like it's going to be on defense, honestly. And if for some reason that Travion Henderson or Amarion Hampton are still there at the 29th pick, which I find highly impossible because there are so many teams ahead of us that need running backs. If they're there, then I feel like we're going to move in that direction. Like, that's the only thing I feel like we're going to get on offense. Seeing that we have so many veterans in the wide receivers position, seeing that we got rid of De'Ami Brown and we got rid of Olamide Zaccheaus, our shifty wide receiver, seeing that we got rid of those guys and we already have, veterans. We got veterans and that we have Noah Brown back, Deebo Samuel, so supposed to be our wide receiver too. He's looking good. He's looking good this offseason. Look like he's putting in that work. And we have Terry still back, and he's going to get a contract north of $30 million. And we have, Luke McCaffrey. And Luke McCaffrey is one of those guys that played with Gabe Taylor, So he knows what type of dog Gabe is. So, you know what I'm saying? So he knows if Gabe is a good home run player. So, or a good player to have in your team. So, he can definitely tell you a lot about him. But I'm not sure what Luke McCaffrey is right now. But he's a player that has potential. So we're going to see what he does this year. But we do have Michael Gallup, who came out of retirement to play with us. And he's feeling inspired. And, like I keep saying, I said it before, he's one of those guys who turns up when it comes to those sideline catches, when it comes to making those plays by the touchdown. So, he's a great person to have in our locker room. And then also, Deebo is one of those guys that can do it all, outside, inside, in the backfield. He's a weapon to have. So it allows us to do a lot of more things than we could last season. And with us getting to the playoffs with De'Ami Brown, who wasn't that good of a weapon. He was a deep threat. Good. He did a good job on that. But anything else we tried to do, it really wasn't as successful as it could have been with Deebo. So, with us having more weapons in the locker room, I feel like, that's not something that we're going to go for in the first round. I'm just going off, like, what would it be for us to go for in the first round? We don't need nothing on offense besides an explosive running back to elevate our running back room. We can keep Brian Robinson if he complements the explosive running back that we get. We do have Austin Eckler, but he's getting old, and we need somebody youth. We need some youth there that's explosive and that has a lot of energy. And, that can do a lot more things that Brian Robinson couldn't do. Brian Robinson is a power back. We need a guy that can give us that Saquon Barkley numbers, even though it's rare. But it's so many running backs in this draft that I don't see us going high in the first round to get a running back. We may wait to the second round, second round, fourth round, because we don't have a third round. But is up in the air. But a lot of guys see us. I see a lot of mock drafts saying that we're gonna go defensive end. And I see a lot of mock drafts saying that we're gonna go cornerback. I see a lot of mock drafts saying that we're gonna go safety. It's really between those three, and if not those three, then running back. And of course, I keep hearing about guys like T-Mac falling to us, at wide receiver. But I don't see that happening, not in the first round. But it all depends. We don't really know Adam Peters as well as we think we know him. Like, he's made a lot of moves that we already thought he wouldn't make or wouldn't even think about. Nobody thought about Laramie Tunsil. We probably thought about him last season, but this season, nobody thought about him. Nobody thought about getting Marshawn Lattimore. Nobody thought about that. That's a genius move. Nobody thought about Deebo. I'm not talking about the people that's on the team, the staff. I'm not talking about them. I'm not talking about Adam Peters. I'm not talking about Lance Newmark. I'm talking about the fans, the media. We didn't know that was going to happen. So it's a lot of moves that Adam Peters does that you don't even think about. So as normal as people watching the game who love the game, we got to understand that Adam Peters is moving at a pace that we don't even think of. It's a lot of moves that he did last season that we would have never done as a GM, that we would have never done with the last regime we had with Ron Rivera. These guys would have never made these moves. So who knows what he's going to do? He's going to be in his bag, and he's probably going to get the best player available. Like he said, he doesn't have a problem with moving back. There's no problem with moving back. You just got to have somebody that wants to move up. And like he said, if he has a player there and he only has one or maybe 5 players that he want to get, if he moves back, he's going to do it. So it's all on what's on the board, because come draft day, things be moving. And it only take one person to offset everybody else. So like last season, it was the Falcons that came and got the guy from I forgot what it was. It was Washington, the quarterback from Washington. It was Michael Penix. It was only that move that offset every single thing else. So that's all it's going to take. And then when you get to those later rounds in the first round, later picks in the first round, things is up in the air. Nobody knows what's going to happen. You may know the first maybe 5 to 10 picks. After that, that's it. Shoot, honestly, you might know the first 2 picks, because right now people don't even know where Shedeur Sanders is going. We don't know if he's going to the Giants. We don't know if he's going to the Browns. We don't know what's going to happen. And then also, you got Travis Hunter. You don't know where he's going, so it's all up in the air. But I know if Gabe Taylor makes it to us at 6th or 7th, or is available as an undrafted free agent, we're getting him. It's without a doubt. Just because of the history of his brother, and then the fact that he's a nice player. And I feel like if he was to make the team, he would definitely add some value. We just have to coach him up a little bit more. He hasn't played top talent over the past 4 years. He hasn't played that really tough talent. So we got to see what he's about. Things change once you get to the NFL. No matter how dominant you were, you could have played at the high level. Like Emmanuel Forbes, for example, right? Put that out there. We got rid of him. He went to the Rams. He played at a high level. He played at Mississippi, right? And you thought just because he played in the SEC, he was going to be a dominant player. Was not that. Never got to that caliber. Never made it to where we wanted to have him as a starter and really allow him to be there. He couldn't even make it as a backup. So we let him go. So what we let Jamin Davis go. There's a lot of guys like who else? You name it. We Jahan Dotson moved on from. And of course, Ron Rivera was terrible at picking guys. But we moved on from these guys, right? And it all depends on, like, you can look at the stats all day. Stats don't make a difference all the time. That's not what's always going to be there to, allow you to evaluate and see, okay, this guy's going to work in my system. It's all about the game plan and what works for us, So if he's there, he's going to get taken. And like I said, I see that first round pick being somebody, defensive end, cornerback, defensive back, And then, like I said, Gabe Taylor, he's played in the slot most of the time. So he, in my opinion, is a Mikey Sanders still, and he's played at this level, for a while. So he's played in the slot. So he's really familiar with playing in the slot a lot. But he's not. When you look at the reports and you look at what they talk about, his strengths and his weaknesses, you can tell it's not Mikey Sanders still's level. But he does do a good job as playing a safety. So it all depends on what we're looking for and how we feel he fits in our scheme. But I feel like it's going to be a no-brainer. I think he's going to work. We're going to at least give him a chance. And like I said, man, really the first round pick is really up in the air. Seeing that we have a late round pick, you really don't know what's going to happen. We have no control. So you never do. But when you have those early round picks, you have a lot more control over the guy you want. It's not too many people going to take the guy that you want when you have that first 5 picks, and most of those teams usually need quarterbacks. So we're going to see what happens. I'm excited to talk to y'all about it, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. Appreciate y'all watching. And let me know how y'all feel about this team. What do you think we're going to do with the first round pick? A lot of guys want offensive tackle, but I don't see that happening. I don't see that as a necessity anymore. Seeing that we got Laramie, we moved Brandon Coleman. We got guys that are nice. We just need to get something on defense because we were able to make it to the playoffs last season with a shitty defense compared to all the other defenses that made it in the playoffs. And with a mediocre offense, So who's to say we can't be even more dominant if we just go for defense? And I feel like it's a necessity, honestly. It's a necessity. And we know we need to attack the quarterback. But I feel like it's either defensive end or cornerback. Without a doubt, it's happening. First round. That's it. I'm throwing it in there. DN, cornerback. I'm out.